It is common knowledge that most households or industries in Ghana dispose of their trash in one receptacle or container because rubbish is rubbish. The practice of separating waste may be foreign to many people in Ghana or even a chore. The problem, for starters, is the fact that most households do not even have the basic 1 litre or trash bin per household recommended in Ghana. Waste segregation is the method of separating garbage at source, the home or industries, before disposed of or collected by waste managers or companies. These are categorized as wet and dry waste or biodegradable and non-biodegradable. The dry waste goes to the recycling companies, while the wet waste is used as compost. With this, it becomes easier for the end user or recycling agencies to process. Waste comes in different forms and classified differently. There is the liquid waste, solid waste, electronic waste, organic waste, and hazardous waste.
So we see 5 different elements to the value chain. First one is the disposing of the waste. People dispose of the waste on the streets currently. Second one is the collection. Third one is the segregation. Fourth one is the recycling, and the last one is reusing the waste. What we think we should do is merge 2 elements, which is the disposal and the segregation. If you're able to segregate at source, and for that you need education. If you have plastic waste, dump it in a plastic bin. If you have paper waste, dump it in the paper bin. And from there it becomes easier for the collectors to come and pick the plastic waste, give it to plastic recyclers, they recycle it and give it back to people who process it, the converters.
But separating waste comes at a cost. This is because 2 or more different colored bins must be provided for different types of waste generated. These bins or trash cans must be labeled specifically for a particular waste, example being plastic, glass or bottles. The bins must be positioned at vantage points at homes, institutions or along the streets and be easily accessible to passers-by to drop their garbage in. Driving through some streets of Accra, such as the Kpone Landfill interchange area, Ministries, Rich or Osu, one may see just a few bins meant for segregating waste. Others have either been stolen, filled with sand or are overflowing with rubbish. GBC 24 gathered that the Tema Metropolitan Assembly and the Accra Metropolitan Assembly began a pilot project in some basic schools within the capital to instill the discipline of waste segregation in them. And if successful, that project would be rolled out to include all households in Accra.
The Assembly has also scaled it up to all secondary schools, senior high schools within the metropolis. So we recently distributed about 300 waste bins to all the schools to practice segregation. And I can tell you that the program is going on well. We hope to scale it up to the various ministries and government agencies. And then we'll look at the general program where we would scale it up to various residents.
Accra alone is said to generate about 3 million metric tons of waste per day, and 600 metric tons of that is sent to the Accra Compost and Recycling Plant at Ajayin Kotoku to produce compost. The facility was set up to properly integrate the management of solid and liquid waste.
The waste that is generated must first be collected and then transported to maybe a station, which we call a transfer station, and it is onward brought to, say, the landfill, or it's brought to Accra Compost for processing. And if you cut any of these processes, you are going to have problems. I can tell you that the bins we have all together in our households, on the streets, in the markets, can only collect 50% or less of this waste that is generated every day. If we have bins to collect only 50% of the waste that is generated in the city, it means that the remaining 50% will go to our gutters, will go on our streets, will go on our highways, will go everywhere.
The raw waste is sent to the receiving bay, then to the primary sorting room, where bulk waste like glass, batteries and e-waste are removed. Due to the nature of waste brought in here, workers have to first sort out the waste manually before processing.
We are told that fecal matter in polythene bags forms part of the waste brought to this facility. This only explains that households in Accra have limited toilet facilities, which authorities need to give urgent attention to.
The next stage is the rotary screen where the organic materials for composting are removed. The difficulty here is that the lifespan of equipment or machines at the facility is shortened due to the frequent wear and tear. The waste is taken through a thorough sorting and natural decomposition process. This involves increasing decomposition rates and improve the final quality of the compost produced. What is seen as garbage has now undergone recycling and turned into fertilizer for agriculture use. Aside the fertilizer, waste could be transformed into energy, fabrics, furniture, plastic ware, and now concrete for road construction, among others.
We need a policy that will ensure that we sort all these materials at home. And by policy, we also need to create buying centers so that when people sort or when people separate their waste, they can have centers or places where they can send the waste to for some small cash. That will enhance the sorting process or the source separation as we've been yearning.
The purpose of segregating waste is to provide the needed waste material to feed recycling and waste to energy plants. If done properly and effectively, waste sent to landfill sites are minimized, and experts are advocating for such practice to be incorporated in the Ghanaian system. But the question some ask is, when will the Ghanaian become disciplined enough to want to learn to recycle waste? For GBC 24, Clara Mlano reporting.